spiritual. And if I go to anyone and say, well, then tell me what is spirituality? And I bet you everyone was like, they will struggle to tell you what spirituality is. So when I look at the camps and how they've interwoven with each other, I think this fight's a little bit too early for Daniel Dubois. I think Daniel Dubois is the next generation. He's 26 years old. He's the next generation. I think he's this generation, right? That's I could be wrong, but I think I see Andy Joshua winning by hellacious knockout.
Wow. What do you think of Carl Froch getting involved in this? He just started, I don't know if it's called trolling, but he's just got involved and going.
It is called trolling.
Yeah.
Exactly what it is.
So,
it's controlled trolling.
Do you think it's a way just to get into the conversation?
Whatever Carl Froch is doing, it's working, right? Because Carl Froch is he's clever. Can't turn around and say he's not clever. Carl Froch is clever. You know what? To be real, I think Carl Froch has watched in boxing. There's a lot of trolls, right? And I think Carl Froch has reached the time of his life where he's thinking, I've never really cared what people thought about me. Yeah, but sometimes when people say, I don't really care what people think about me, they actually do care. All right, I'm just gonna be real with you. But I think with Carl, he's more of a. I think he's carrying feelings. I know he's carrying feelings. Carl Froch got inducted into the Hall of Fame recently in America, right? In his speech, he says that he looked at Robert McCracken as a father-like figure, right? Because if you know the story, Carl Froch passed away and all the rest of it. But he looked at Robert McCracken as a father-like figure. And also, Robert McCracken had a different respect for Carl Froch, right? Carl Froch was his first world champion. So he had him with some different respect, some different love and admiration that he had for him. Now, Anthony Joshua's come along, right? Not fundamentally being in the gym, like hasn't gone through the course of how many of us have gone through. Like we grew up loving boxing from a really young age, buying the Ring magazine, the boxing news every Friday, watching it, reading that, watching, having the boxer collection on videotapes. There's a boxer collection, it's called a boxer, and you'd buy that every Friday that would come out. You'd buy a new one every 2 weeks that would come out. Anthony Joshua ain't done none of that. Anthony Joshua just walked into the gymnasium because he saw his cousin Benga doing it, who I have to shout out to Benga, former ABA champion as well, seeing Benga do it and said, wow, I want to go do that. And he went in and done it. He said, wow, I've got a knack for this. But Anthony Joshua is naturally athletic. Anthony Joshua could have done anything. Anthony Joshua could play football, he'd blow it up. Anthony Joshua could play basketball. And I remember they did, this is years ago, it must be about a decade ago, when he just won the Olympic gold medal. They had this superstar challenge where they had different athletes from all doing a different kind of multiple different sporting events, and Anthony Joshua creamed everybody without even trying, right? So that's the type of person that Anthony Joshua is. So when you look at that, Carl Froch is thinking, well, I'm the person that's done this the real way or the authentic way. Things are changing now, right? You know what I mean? What was it? Howard Wilson, our former Prime Minister, said, he who rejects change is the architect of decay, for the only human institution that rejects progress is the cemetery. So we have to constantly keep on evolving as we are as human beings. I think that boxing has evolved, right? And I think Carl Froch was aggrieved on how Robert McCracken was handled. That's all. Because he was working for 1 minute and then Angel Fernandez kind of slipped in, who worked with Joshua for a little bit. And it is. And no one can't tell me that. Like, when you do these little slip-ins, you slip into these kind of positions, you want to be the number one guy. Nobody's not coming into like, Sean, we're both training a fighter, and you can come in. I'm the key guy. You're telling me you don't want a key guy job? You want a key guy job because the key guy job is a job that pays you the real money. The key guy job is where you get the most adulation, the most pats on the back. It's very rare that you get guys who are comfortable in their own skin. That's why Muhammad Ali was so great. Because Muhammad Ali had Angel Randy as his trainer, right? But then he had other guys around him. Lloyd Wells, he had Bundini Brown, but all of those guys knew I'm going to play my position. I'm going to play my position because you know what? I'm not Angelo Lundy, but listen. You can't mention Muhammad Ali's name without mentioning Bundini Brown. Bundini Brown was incremental in Ali's success, right? Even to the persona of a Muhammad Ali, he was incremental in that. You young kids go Google who Bundini Brown was. He's the guy that taught Muhammad Ali how to be hip and street, right? So, but Carl Froch, I get it why he feels that way. Because if I sit down and think about it, I'm not talking people's business, but Robert McCracken has earned more money training Anthony Joshua than what Carl Froch earned in his career. And Carl Froch is a 3-time world champion. Work that one out. Carl Froch is the one that sold at 80,000 in Wembley versus him and George Groves a decade ago, right? So all of those kind of things is like you can be riled by it. It's human nature to be riled by these things. But what I didn't like is like if you DM me and we're going back and forth, that's not public. You know what I mean? That's not public because it's called a direct message.
Yeah.
So if I send a direct, I'm not directly sending it to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
I'm directly sending it to you, Sean. So on those kind of things, I didn't like that. But Carl Froch is very clever because he knows I can do this kind of thing. It's going to keep me relevant. And I can also play the lines because a lot of people ain't too sure about Anthony Joshua anymore. A lot of people are like, ooh, this Anthony Joshua, and a lot of people turned on Anthony Joshua. A lot of people turned on him when he was at the Black Lives Matter march, right? A lot of people turned on him. You can't say he never because you did, right? And he didn't even say anything wrong, right? So, like I said, on many things, that
What happens at ringside? Carl Froch is there, and Joshua's looking across to him and saying, "You've been talking about me."
No, nothing is going to happen at all. Do you know why? Because this is why I rate Anthony Joshua. Because Anthony Joshua has sacrificed himself on the public platform by not being road, not being the street thug, not being NLZ, being corporate Anthony Joshua. And it's paid for him, right? He hasn't Uncle Tom, he hasn't cooned it, but he's played it safe, right? Not being over opinionated, not being, you get what I'm trying to say? He's done that. How can I knock a man for that? Anthony Joshua, did they say he's worth 200 million? So I can't knock you for that. Not only that, but he's he's making really, really smart investments right now, right? I can't say nothing to him. And I also got props what he's doing. He started off this ACE thing, African Caribbean Exchange. Him, Michael Jarman, and what's it? Kane Kawasaki. They started this thing to push unity within the African diaspora. I've got to rate you for that because I used to be wondering like, and you're doing what are you doing, bro? You should be, and like, no. So therefore, if he saw Carl Froch ringside, Anthony Joshua knows, look, Anthony Joshua, bro. You know what I mean? I am Anthony Joshua, right? And that's the truth. But one thing I do know about Carl Froch, he's comfortable within his own skin. He likes when people talk shit about him. It doesn't bother him. But we'll see.
So being that we're on the heavyweight scene and we're talking all about that, was it a shock to you when Usyk beat Tyson Fury earlier this year?
Not at all. Because Usyk is very good. It wasn't a shock, but I still picked Tyson Fury to win, right? Simply because Tyson Fury can do genius stuff in that boxing ring. I've witnessed it. I've seen it. He does genius stuff. But if you understand what you're watching, if you can understand what you're watching, then you know that was freaking clever on what Tyson Fury did. But Usyk is a different breed. Totally different breed. Very highly skilled. Like incredibly highly skilled. Knows how to, and like he's like, you know what Usyk's like? Usyk is like Chinese water torture. You know, like little drops of water. And it just catches up with you till it drives you insane. And that's what he did. You can see from the first round, from his southpaw position, he stood with Tyson Fury. He's throwing left hand straight down to his body. He's throwing a jab to Tyson's body from the first round. And what he was doing, he was deliberately doing that. That's to lower Tyson Fury's guard. And he lowered his guard. He had to wait till round 8 and 9 before he could let off a big shot. And he let off that big overhand left on Tyson Fury that had
Yeah. It looked like it broke his nose or something.
Yeah,
The way it
exactly.
just went and hit him, and Tyson wasn't the same after that.
Exactly.